Greetings in the love and light of the one infinite creator. I'm Andrii, and I'm joined by Fred, Dan, Adam, and Edward, and Bene. And we will be reading and discussing the October 26, 2024 session of the Kuo, or the Confederation of Planets, Contact. All right, Dan, take it away.
I am Quo, and we greet each this day in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator that is within each and it is within the entire creation. Today, we are honored to be called to your group by your desire to know more of your spiritual journey, of the process of living a life within your third density illusion that has so many challenges and difficulties that, when they are met successfully, allow you to move forward on your journey. We are those who are also on this journey, and it is our honor to be with you. We ask that you look at what we say in response to your queries as our opinion, not as that which is written in stone. Take what is value to you, leave the rest behind. This is the perennial favor that we ask, for it gives us more freedom to respond to your queries, knowing that you will not take them as the scriptural truth, shall we say. With that said, we would ask if there is a query with which we may begin.
Yes, cool. Can I ask, when you leave a place that has been important to you in some way, is it good? Is it important to honor or thank it in some way? And if so, what is good way to thank that place?
I am Quo, and I'm aware of your query, my brother. When you leave a dwelling place that you have lived in for some time, it is well to do exactly as you say, my brother, to thank each portion of it, each room, the outdoors, the area that has been close to your heart that you have infused with the love that you live as a part of your daily life. So this is what is meant by the, shall we say, deconsecration of a place. That you take that love, spread it around that area, then see it moving in harmony with you as you move to a new location so that both locations are imbued with the love of the Creator that has moved through your heart over many years in many ways. This is what is so important when you are moving and taking with you that which is not only the furniture, the equipment of your kitchen, the bedding, the clothes, everything that you take, but that you take that feeling of unity, that is a sacred space that can, itself, through your sharing of love with it, become a higher density being, for it is also part of the Creator. This is sacred ground, as you have traveled your spiritual journey there, and this is your loving response to not only take the love, but imbue the love even more. And then with that love that you take, imbue your new location, your new house, your new home, your spiritual home where you shall continue your spiritual journey. Therefore, you connect two places on this earth that have your vibrations of love. Then may you, the future tenants, shall we say, give them an unexpected treasure, a kind of gem that has your love in it, a crystal that reflects your love to them. This is one way that you can share more of your love in the moving from location to location. Is there a further query, my brother?
All right. Um, I guess we can reflect on that for now, and then we'll do the rest of it later. Okay. Anyone have any commentary on that? Go ahead, Fred.
Okay, so this is something that me and Fred have spoken about quite often. About, is a home a first density entity?
Oh, is it a first density entity? I think so.
I thought first is more
Be-
elemental, right?
Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah,
depends, I guess.
but up to kind of atoms and up to kind of molecules. You know, like second density is where you start getting life, right? Where you start getting complexity, when you start getting
Yeah,
dynamics.
yeah.
Yeah. So
If
so a structure,
Mhm.
yeah, that has got a specific structure that's been there for a long time. It's going to have its own morphogenic structure built by those atoms. If we're saying each one of those atoms has some kind of consciousness, that they're all working together in harmony to make the structure of a house, you know, that then is lived in by people, where their vibrations and their energy has been absorbed by the atoms inside that house. You know, who's to say that all of that combined energy and resonance throughout the combined structure of all of the combined single first density entities doesn't make what would be a crystalline entity ready to go to second density, but because of the fact that it has been first density entities that have provided shelter, that have built, that have been included in higher level entities existence in some way. We talk about Fred's house because it's really old, and how many lives and how much energy is absorbed that's allowed it to develop its own consciousness. Anyway, I'll stop chatting. The point is, we talked about this before. So, and
Fred,
that whole idea of saying goodbye to the rooms, that makes sense.
Fred, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, well, that's why when I do a remodel in my house and anything, I make sure that the house is okay with it, that it knows what I'm going to do. I put out my intention and make sure that I give off the vibe that it's only for the best interest of the house or the family or whatever. But I've protected my home. I've done protection ceremonies in my house and around my house, and all that energy is put into my home and around my home. And I know for a fact that something happens. You can't say always exactly what it is, but something happens where there's a congruency between the output energy and the reflective energy of when weird things happen. So my house is literally 201 years old. So it's had quite a few generations of families in it, with lots of, lots of happy times, lots of sad times, and everything in between. All of that energy is imbued in the walls of this home. It does create in a conglomerative effect. You think of the plaster that's rock, and the wood that was the trees, and the slate roof that was stone, and the bricks that were clay, and all of those things are first density and second density with the trees. But there's horsehair in the plaster, and it's all collecting that energy. It all has water molecules in it, and different molecules of the different elements that they all collect that vibration. And if we can make holy water, then just imagine what we're doing to our homes.
Mm-hmm. Great point. So I have here an analysis of the possible densities. So first density.
Okay, quickly before we do that, can I just say just a quick little tidbit of fact that might be important here. You know that in old Druid and Celtic buildings, before they started building the building, the first thing they'd always build would be the fire in the middle, right? And then the cornerstone where they start building the house, they'd always bury a sacrifice, sometimes a person, underneath those first stones where they start building the house. So if we're talking about trying to give a house a consciousness, who's to say that idea of you build a house around like a dead person as like a cornerstone, is like a sacrifice, like a marking of the houses where the house is going to grow from.
That would be really bad for the foundation. Just worth noting that you don't want to put something decomposing under one of the corners of your house.
The way they used to do their sacrifices is they'd kill the thing, then they'd eat it, then they'd burn the bones. So you just had literally like a little ball of burnt bones that they'd tie up and stuff. So it wasn't like a whole person laying there. But obviously you can identify what they killed from what bones are in the little bag.
Oh, I see. I see.
But yeah, it's a really, really old tradition. It's like Stone Age.
All right. Well, okay. So let's have a look. So the basic here, first density, basic existence, awareness, and being. Relevance to the house. The raw materials, the house, the wood, and the stone. Second density. Growth, development, and awareness. So the house as a space shaped and imbued with intention. The house begins to take on quantities of second density as it becomes infused with care, love, and attention, fostering its environment for growth. A garden around the house. Also, I was thinking that for this, like having a thermostat, that's also, it has an intention, because it's kind of maintaining a certain equilibrium. Third density, self-awareness and choice. The house as a space for learning and spiritual growth. A dwelling facilitates the spiritual journey of its inhabitants, acting as a reflection of their choices and providing an environment for their lessons. In theory, if you had like a smart home that was deciding between good and evil, like it's possible. But anyways, that would be more like the robot. Fourth
So
density.
in regular non-smart home terms, then that would probably kind of be where my home is at, because it's alerted me to things before.
Well, then yeah, it would be second density there.
Also,
Just
it
like
could
the
be things
dog
like,
could alert you
whether
to
whether a
something.
space feels like you could meditate in it or that you feel relaxed in it.
Hmm.
Like the actual energy that the house puts out could very well be, a vital component to how it interacts with you. Like the idea of a Japanese ghost isn't like a spirit that wanders around. It's like when something horrible happens, the energy from that person dying gets absorbed into the walls. And that's what the haunting is the actual residual negative energy trapped inside the structure. So, it's the same kind of idea. Anyway, sorry.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So here, fourth density, a house imbued with harmonious vibrations. When a house is filled with unconditional love and care, it can resonate with fourth density principles, creating a sanctuary for love and healing. Fifth density, wisdom and light, a meditative or retreat space in a house. If a house is used intentionally for wisdom seeking activities such as meditation, study, or healing practices, it could resonate with fifth density energy. Sixth density, unity of love and wisdom, communal space reflecting unity. A house that serves as a shared intentional community space for mutual service and spiritual alignment embodies the sixth density energy by merging love and wisdom. I think it's like if you had like an oracle room or something like that, because that would be indigo ray, right? And then seventh density, completion and gateway to infinity, rarely applicable to a house as a structure. A house is unlikely to resonate at this density unless it becomes symbolic, archetypical representation of ultimate spiritual unity or transcendence. Eighth density, unity with the infinite creator, beyond material existence. But I think that's seventh density. This could be like the lock on the door, because it's also the challenging. It's where the challenging happens. And so I think that it could be pertinent in that way. Unity with the infinite creator, beyond material existence. A house as part of the creator always inherently belongs to eighth density unity, but this is true of all creation and not specific to its function as a house. All right. Well, that was kind of interesting.
Right. So one of the things it mentioned in there was structure, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
how it was an intentionally built structure for whatever. So if it was made for worship or if it was made for living or whatever else, the building itself had an intentional structure. Right now, have you heard about biophysics? Yeah. So you can get a very lifelike human statue made of marble or whatever, right? And you can get the right kind of equipment that you could use to measure the human aura and to measure the spirals from the chakras. And if it's an accurate representation of the human structure, you'll be able to get very faint chakra readings
Mm-hmm.
from the structure itself, right? Showing that really our body isn't the thing that creates the chakras, right? We are a structure that is built around them. And if you create a structure like us, close enough to it, the universe will try to put that energy into it. So if you build a structure with an intention, with a specific patterning, with a specific way of building it, who's to say that there isn't morphogenic, like uh, uh, like I said, first density consciousnesses that actually go into built structures?
So it turns out that the next question directly relates to what we're discussing. Okay, so we're gonna read it. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Is there some sense in which a house or an apartment or a cabin or a cave or other dwelling place can be said to be alive? Is it a living being?
I am Quo, and we are aware of your query, my brother. Indeed, it is true that the entire creation is a living being that most people are unaware of unless they consciously seek more and more information about the nature of the creation and the Creator itself to see that the Creator has made everything out of itself. Everything has a consciousness that is, in most cases, lying dormant, awaiting the awakening that you give it. If you're in a cave, in a house, in any kind of structure in which your vibrations may be able to imbue with your sense the Creator's love flowing through your heart. Thus, when you are in such a location for a period of time, the nature of aliveness of the Creator's awareness can be awakened over a period of time. This is what many of the ancient religions of those who lived in caves were aware of before the concept of the dwelling within the building of wood or stone was created. Is there a further query, my brother?
No, thank you, cool. All right. So, what did they say there? What do you guys think?
They said that, you know, by your presence there, you're giving life to the dwelling,
Mm-hmm.
and the ancient religions, they knew about this. Like, the caves they lived in, the dwellings, they knew that those things have life itself, which I find amazing. Like, what happened to us?
Well, I think it was actually fairly recent. For most of history, people have been animist. I think it has to do with the more recent religions that were promoted by governments because they wanted the worship of the government and the autocrat rather than recognizing the divine within everything.
Mm,
So even like say bare bones Christianity, based on Jesus' teachings, it's about loving everybody, and it's going against hierarchy. Everyone has their own relationship with God, and then you're just loving and blessing all of God's creation. But then after it was converted by the church, after the state church with Constantine, it became a rather just kind of another vehicle for administration of the people, that they would be subservient civilly and spiritually to the autocrats. All right. Anyhow, so here we go. Here we go. Creator in all things. Okay. As a living being, most are unaware. Consciously seek more information. Dormant consciousness and spaces. Everything has a consciousness that is in most cases lying dormant, awaiting the awakening that you give it. So, like for instance, like if you have a pet, second density animal, and you give it a lot of love, then you can actually bring it to the point where if it reincarnates, it'll become a third density being, like a human. And in theory, you could do the same thing with a house. Like a house would be able to reincarnate. Um, as maybe an animal or maybe even a person, depending on how alive it gets to. Uh, and your vibrations may be able to imbue the dwelling with your sense, the Creator's love flowing through your heart. And then we can awaken the Creator's awareness within a space. Like I know some Buddhists that lived in caves, they would imbue their handprints and their footprints in the cave. Pyramids, guys, Edward says. Okay. And ancient wisdom, this is what ancient religions who lived in caves were aware of before the concept of dwelling, of what was infuse your dwellings with love, gratitude, and intentionality. By doing so, you transform it into a living reflection of your spiritual path and create a connection to the Creator. All right.
This reminds me of like when Ra said back in the day, like the square rooms don't have a lot of like any power in them the way that our society is built, but like round structures and like dome living has a different type of energy. Like you can learn uh wisdom and a lot of teachings, like they're good for studying.
Cool. Do you have a reference for that?
No, I just was just remembering.
Okay.
I thought that was an interesting thing that they didn't mention like square around and just now, but Rod did.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, I want to say one thing. The thing I like about Dan, I don't know if y'all can see it, but he got something blooming around his head. If you
Oh,
look real close, yeah.
it's because he's got the background changed.
Oh, you got a background on. I don't know
Uh,
nothing about that.
okay.
But the one thing I heard about it I could just impart on y'all is like when we went to age density or God, right?
Mhm.
God.
Well,
I
eight
know
density. It's
God.
not God. It's the end of the octave.
I'm thinking about your reading, like whatever you said, God, where we met God at that point.
Hmm.
He, it's not a he or a she. It's kind of just something inside of you, and you meet them there while they punish me. But me and them have the greatest relationship, and it isn't really about your ego or what your ego puts out there. If you put out good intentions, it's gonna read that, but it's right inside you. Like I said, you go out there for 30, 40 days without anything and see what happens to you. And there's no God. It's all internal. So when it
Well,
comes to that,
God
I-
is
it,
all that is.
it could be raw. It could be anything. I mean, how do you know what created everything? That's the whole question,
Well, the you can't know anything for certain, but you can have faith.
Exactly.
All right. Well, this
That's
next
what I'm
one.
saying about your true self. Yeah, even if it's through your penal, whatever,
Perennial. Yeah.
and I ain't talking my penal. You get that
All right. So here, the next one's on Rainbow Warrior prophecies, which is kind of interesting. I have a question about the Rainbow Warrior prophecies. The White Buffalo Woman prophecies shared with Native Americans about different tribes, races, and different types of people coming together to restore harmony to the earth. And I was wondering if you could speak on that. Where these prophecies came from? Is the time upon us? Will leaders emerge? And how can we help individually restore harmony to ourselves, to other selves, and the earth, and all of it together as a whole?
We are those of Quo, and we are aware and grateful for this query, my sister. These particular prophecies of which you speak are what you may find throughout recorded history in various costumes and various expressions, but nonetheless are no less valid and no less unique. Those prophecies being ones of these individuals, these thought and spiritual leaders who find themselves on this planet to serve this planet and her people in ways that point towards the true reality of oneness that is this veil of forgetting is quite adept at allowing us to, well, forget. These prophecies are interesting in that the way that your people may see prophecy is one that is either on the horizon or in the far future. And while both of those are true, we would like to also add the seed of thought that these prophecies, these steps, these actions, these moments in what you call history are also that things that have dwelled within what you call your past. And that these actions and movements towards unity, these pushes towards the graduation into the fourth density, can be found at many guideposts throughout the time, past, present, and future. The creation of these prophecies is a bit difficult for us to parse in your language or in your words, but what we can say is that they are born of an energetic desire that is innate in your people to find that core of oneness. It may be unconscious, or it may be at the forefront of your experience, but it is that which is natural to your beingness to find ways to connect and serve, not just self but others, in the realization that the connection and service to others is a service to self in a positive way. This energetic vibration that wore these prophecies, these ideas, which seem perhaps outside of the realm of reality, are very much real, are very much possible. And the energetic signature of which they were born is the energetic signature of creation itself. Think of it as a what you may call glimpse into the greater truth of the experience. Perhaps that is how inspiration works. These small windows of a reality of something greater than the separation, which you may view through your eyes, which may seem tangible in your hands, but is not that which is truth. And so, to your question about whether now is the time or if we are working towards that, we would say yes. We would say it always has been. It always will be. Every step forward is just that. However, that exists within this larger scale of what you consider time, that which allows for evolution towards graduation, towards movement upward into higher densities of beingness. And so these prophecies, these glimpses into truth, these moments of inspiration, they will seem to be increasing. For hearts are opening wider, more than allowing the self to see that reality of oneness more clearly. Those who can, as you may see it, lead these movements towards oneness already exist here and now. Each and every one of you has that ability simply by radiating your truth yourself, your heart as authentically as possible, and allowing the light within you to shine through without stain or debris or shadow to be cast, to fully accept yourself and those around you, and to open your arms in loving service to yourself and those around you. You, my friends, in the simple act of being, are those leaders. Of course, with every moment in history, there are those who may make the book, if you will. Their names may be printed or spoken, stories retold. And we would say that so long as the mission and path forward is known, no one is more important or more powerful in that movement. And so, my friend, you are a leader. Each person in this circle is a leader. Each expression of creation on this planet at this time can be a leader. One simply must find and discover themselves and their truth, allow themselves to express themselves in their truth with freedom and full acceptance.
Oh,
It, it is through this it is through those exercises of acceptance, forgiveness, and genuine love that the loving vibrations which propel this movement are more deeply felt within this planet, that healing can occur, not just for Gaia, but cosmically, universally, my friends. We understand that this period of what you call time can be stressful. We heard in your round robin the sharings of sadness and tears and desiring to release those emotions for the planet as a whole. That is a service within itself, and we do feel for you that you may experience these catalytic times. But we assure you, the light is always there, and you have support cosmically that you can always call upon. And perhaps the greatest guide one can have is the full faith of your truth, of standing firm in that faith, and knowing genuinely and deeply that all is well, that all is as it should be. And with that loving embrace towards that which may come, one may fully accept and see the positive movement forward that each and every one of you take. We understand if this answer perhaps does not treat what may be seen as what you may call illness or challenge that you may experience on this planet. But we assure you that these actions can heal and that you are on a path towards healing. You cannot help but be of service and do positive actions onto this universe in ways that heal it. And so, my sister, we would like to ask if there is a follow-up or a topic on this question to which we may speak more fully.
no, thank you so much. All right. So that was great. So basically, we are the leaders. We are the ones healing the planet.
Everything is the leaders. That's what it means.
Yes, everything is the leaders. Yes. Mhm.
Isn't that called too many chiefs, not enough Indians?
Actually, the Confederation says that the problem on Earth is exactly the opposite. We have too few chiefs and too many Indians.
Most chiefs are also like secret chiefs, so you're never gonna be a chief that says I am chief. They're
Well,
secret chiefs.
they mean that our government system, they spin like tops because you have just a few people at the top, and then the rest of it just like spins really fast because that there's not enough people in like leadership positions all throughout the organization. You have one person representing 100,000. That's impossible. A human cannot represent 100,000. They can represent at most 150 to 200 people.
Yeah, I'd say like 250, 200, yeah.
And so we just have a completely broken system that it's designed to fail. It's designed to fail, and it's not designed to work. I think the Chinese have it a little bit better. They have, like basically, if you were to take like the local level, but I don't know if they make it small enough. Like in Mao tried to make groups of 5,000 people, and that failed. That was still too big. You need to have villages of like up to 300 people. 300 people is the average village.
They do it okay, except for the communism part.
Well, yeah. I mean that's it's all one. It's all one. In Canada we have three far left parties and one conservative party.
Yeah, and that's the one that's in charge now.
No, it's not. It's actually the one that's in charge is one of the three far left parties, the Liberals.
But aren't they getting more and more Republican or conservative people into office?
No, well, I mean, the election isn't until next year. That they can't get anyone else.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought they just had a switchover.
No, there's been no switchover, and because the Conservatives are projected to win a supermajority, no one else wants to hold an election because they're all going to lose seats. Yeah, and so, but there have been some provincial elections, and I think New Brunswick went over to the Conservatives. So it's kind of like provincially, it's going more conservative.
So we talk about America, right?
Mm-hmm.
We actually live in a constitutional republic. So when it comes to the basis systems of everything we're in inside the Beltway, you have socialist and you have capitalist things coming into one. You got Medicare, you got Social Security, you got SNAP, WIC, whatever you want to call it. And then at the same time, you have super PACs, you have all of that. So where do you see the problem in that? Because I see a million problems when you got $1 billion super PAC.
Well, my analysis of America from over here in Canada is that it looks like it's pretty much all owned and controlled by a very small ethnic minority that Bene is a part of.
I don't think the Jews are really in control. I mean,
well, they own it. They physically own it. They physically own all the media. They have most of the money. They're the ones that are contributing to all those super PACs. They have Trump on like a leash. They've given him a temple coin. He's got a Covenant of the Ark or whatever in his hotel lobby. And, so...
If I tell you the truth, his hotels don't do that good unless if he's president. I mean, he really doesn't make that much money. So, I mean, I don't think
than I do.
He's not Jewish. So anything he gets is a blessing from the Jews.
But even if I'm Jewish, I'm also considered, even if I have Jewish blood, right? Let's put it at this way. you know, they still treat me a certain type of way because I'm adopted, you know, to a fully Namikaze family, you know, from
Yeah.
Russia. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't get
I
treated the
know. I
way
know.
you
There's
do
a
this,
pecking order.
but
I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood, so I know what it's like.
no, dude, when I lived in Valley Village, they treated me, they were literally spitting on me.
Wow.
So, like, you know, for not being a real Jew, the only thing I had was I was
But your mother was
protecting.
Jewish. How are you not a real
No,
Jew?
my mother isn't Jewish. Her, like, great mother,
Her grandmother
grandmother's
is
Jew.
Jewish.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, but both of my parents are Jewish. You know, my mother's a convert. My father's a full Anakazi Jew. I mean,
Ashna.
on,
Yeah.
on the level where, like, you just don't tell them what to do or me, you know. So, uh, you know, it's just, it's just a whole conundrum. I mean, Fred could find out because he's from Youngstown, but I don't know where y'all are from. But it is, you know, they act a certain way to people where I look at them and I don't even give a fuck. That's all I have to tell you. So, I
Well,
mean,
no matter what anybody looks at you or does to you or what you think that they're doing to you, it all comes down to your intention and how you interpret it. If you take something negative and you just say, you know what, I'm going to interpret that as a positive thing because you're basically telling me I probably shouldn't be around you. And if I see you, I just nod your way, wish you well, love and light to one infinite creator, and be on my way. Then it doesn't affect you negatively. So, you know, maybe
yeah,
every
like,
time you encounter that, switch it around to where you're incorporating it positively back in your when you're mirroring it back to say, you know, I do not accept the negative of that. I'm making that into something positive. Like that's why I believe full well in complete unrestricted free speech. Let people say hateful, angry, mean things. Let them, because that saves me the time and the energy from having to figure out the hard way through censorship that you're an asshole and I don't want to be around you. You just say your thing, and if somebody's an asshole to you, you say, "All right, I don't want to go hang out nowhere with this dude. I'm not going to invite him to a birthday party at my house." You know, so that's tuning it positive. That's making a positive interpretation of
See,
something coming at you that could be negative.
I mean, the worst thing in Valley Village was, you know, they wouldn't let me do sukkah with them. You know, that's a Jewish Halloween where they build little tents and
oh
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that because I'm not a real Jew, you know.
According to them, yeah.
Yeah, because they're Orthodox.
Oh
You
right.
know, these are the people murdering Palestinians, all that shit. Fucking.
And with
Dude,
the basements and all that in
even
Brooklyn.
basements or tunnels in Brooklyn,
Yeah, the
tunnels
tunnels in
maybe.
Brooklyn. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, the little rats. You know, we feel a certain way about each other too. So I mean, you know, I don't give a fuck about them either. So, you know, yeah, that's all I can tell you. But if I tell you anything, there ain't anything about love, but their lost love for a God that has evolved over 5,000 years. So, I mean, if they want to go in this battle, I got everybody. I got 95% of people on my side. So, you know, it really doesn't matter at that point. So, you know, these people are they're old, they care about their gelt, you know, they care about their holla, but they don't care about people. So I
Yeah.
mean, they're not really
Well,
one.
the Confederation openly says that if you follow the Talmud or the Zohar, then you will experience spiritual growth towards the service to self path.
Well, yeah, unless if you're left-handed like me.
Well, the service to self path, yeah,
But I'm
because
not. That'd be the complete opposite because my
oh,
spiritual healing would be the opposite one.
fair enough.
You,
Oh, I
you
see. I see.
understand that? You
Well,
understand that? So
yeah,
they're all right hand.
anything can be interpreted in a variety of ways, and you can interpret anything in a service to others, a neutral, or a service to self way. And so that is, yeah, for sure, it's up to you. But just for the majority of people that read, like, say, the literal interpretation of the Talmud, they are, and then
I
they
have
choose to
the
follow it.
Talmud.
They're following the service to self path.
All the Talmud is like the first 5 books of Moses, Job, and a
No, that's
couple
not the
other.
Talmud. No, that's the Tanakh.
Okay, yeah, but I have the Talmud too. So what is the Talmud?
The Talmud, it was written after Jesus died. So after the Jews rejected Jesus and decided, okay, we have to do the opposite of what Jesus said. And it's basically a collection of court cases. And, well, it
Okay.
says a lot of things that I can't see on YouTube. But if you look it
Yeah,
up,
and don't forget the first 15 books they written that were kicked out of the Bible.
it's
So,
yeah. Well, it's not in the Old Testament. It's a completely different volume.
well, no, the Old Testament is the Old Testament, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But there's other books that are written, the Book of All.
yeah, yeah. There's the
That's what.
Apocrypha in the Septuagint, which was
Yeah,
the
so you got that. You got the Book of Aniki. You got all those books that the Jews wrote.
right. Yeah, but that's
So,
not the Talmud. That's different. That's different than the Talmud.
yeah, I have the Talmud some here. Like, I haven't finished building my house yet. I got to put up cabinets and all sorts of shit. But it is here. So,
Somewhere, eh? Okay. Well, I
it's
guess
in,
you'll be
it's
able
in
to tell.
some type of bullshit if I show you, like, got pizza boxes on top of there, but somewhere in here,
Okay.
it,
Well,
with
it's
a wet
past 9 o'clock,
dry.
so we're actually going to round up the live stream. Did anyone else have any final comments on the Rainbow Warrior stuff?
Nope, good.
Made a nice image for it. If I could figure it out. There.
Well, let me leave, and I love you guys.
All right. Yeah. So we, as we found you, we leave you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite Creator, the one within you, Adonai Vasavargas. And stream. All right.